Hello, am I audible? Can you just message me and let me know if I'm audible? Hello, hi, I'm great. Am I audible, right? Okay, perfect. So we'll start the session in another 5-7 minutes. We're just waiting for Dr. Meena to join us. I'll start the session in another 2 minutes. I'll introduce Dr. Meena. Let's just wait for a few other people to join us and then we'll take it on. So, hello everyone. I will, in the meantime, let's wait for Dr. Meena to start. In the meantime, let me just introduce Dr. Meena. Okay, so first of all, thank you for joining us, and I'm sure it's going to be a very knowledgeable session for all of us. This topic is very much in sync with what we are trying to do at Swarasya also. So, the whole idea is at Swarasya, we are just trying to bring about that, that awareness that beauty is an inside out concept. It's a much deeper phenomena than what we experience on the outside. So we have defined 5 dimensions of Swarasya. I always talk about these dimensions first before we go ahead because it's a very new concept and we have some new members also joining us today. So I'll just quickly take you through what are the 5 dimensions that I'm talking about. So at Swarasya, since we look at beauty from the inside out perspective, the very first dimension that we talk about is nourish, which is all about foods, because we have many times came across this phrase that you are what you eat. So exactly, yes, you are what you eat, but then there is a lot behind it. So foods is what forms you. It forms your tissues, it forms how you look and feel completely. So there's a lot about foods that you can kind of change or incorporate in your daily routine, which can make whole lot of a difference to how you look and feel. Then our second beauty dimension is body work, which is of course exercise is one part of it, but then apart from exercise we also talk about the concepts of self-care, which so precisely the topic that we have picked up today is more about that revolves more around the concept of self-care from body work, because Ayurveda is all about self-care. It's about self-care from all the perspectives that you can think of: physical perspective, mental perspective, emotional perspective, spiritual perspective. All of these concepts come together and in Ayurveda when we talk of beauty inside out. So the second dimension that we have under Swarasya is body work, which constitutes exercise, skincare, self-care and sleep. The third dimension that we talk about is emotions. Why emotions? Because emotions have a very strong impact on how you look and feel. In case you would want to go deeper into what I'm saying about how emotions can be related to your beauty, please go and check out our YouTube free webinars that we've done on these 5 dimensions. 3 of which are already done and 2 are in the pipeline. We are soon conducting the other 2 sessions also. So these will give you a deeper insight into what I'm talking about from the emotion perspective, how it makes a difference to your entire how you look and feel. And then we have the fourth dimension, which is self-realization, which is the bigger science, how you bring all these concepts together, like how do you bring foods, body work, how do you join all these concepts, how do you get onto that path of joining all these concepts is what self-realization is all about. Hello, Dr. Meena. Hi, how are you?
Hello, I am.
Am I audible, Dr. Meena?
I can't hear.
Am I not audible? Hello? Dr. Meena, can you just rejoin again? Because I think our audience can listen to us. You guys, just give us some few seconds.
Okay. Hi, can you hear me? I had a microphone. With the microphone, I can't hear you.
Yeah, hi, Dr. Meena. Am I audible?
Okay, yeah, you are audible.
Okay,
can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you
yes,
hear me
yes,
okay?
we can.
Okay,
Yes,
so I won't use a microphone.
Perfect.
Yeah, you can just call me Meena. Thank you so much.
Okay, Mina. So, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you? It's great to be connecting, all
Yes,
the
of
way from
course. It's
Canada
been a
to India.
Yes, and it's been a long time. I had been trying to just connect with you, but there was, there was no common reason or a common platform that I could think of connecting, and this just came up. So I thought maybe, why not just go ahead and have a conversation with you, since you come with such a broad spectrum of knowledge from Ayurveda. And so I was just,
Thank you.
kind of mentioning what we are doing under Swarasya and the our entire concept. We are just trying to bring about this awareness and revolution that beauty is not an outside concept. It's an inside out concept. So how
Yeah,
we, right? So, and I guess there is no bigger science than Ayurveda, which understands this concept at detail than any other science ever.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so that was the whole idea. We thought, let's just, kind of get live with you and try to understand these concepts in much more detail. Like, since, I mean, I am myself studying Ayurveda, but then I don't think I am where you are right now. I do understand there are, three concepts under Ayurveda that defines beauty from three different perspectives, Rupam, Gunam, and Vayastya. So we would really want to understand from you in a very, understandable way and practical implementable way, what are these three terms in Ayurveda all about from beauty perspective, and how one can just start walking that path of Vayastya, which is about ageless beauty, that I believe they understand as ageless beauty in Ayurveda. So before I hand it over to you, I would just I was just talking to the audience, telling them our concept. Like, we've divided, we are taking ahead Swarasya from 5 different dimensions. So we talk of foods, which is the nourish dimension. We talk of body work, which is about self-care, skincare, exercise, and sleep. All these factors coming together. The third dimension under Swarasya that we talk about is emotions, because emotions have a deep impact on what shows on outside on your skin and your body altogether. The fourth dimension that we talk about is self-realization, which is more of a deeper yogic concept, which is about knowing yourself at a deeper level. And the fifth dimension that we talk about is energy. So if I kind of consolidate all these 5 pointers together, it is nothing but the concept of Rupam, Gunam, and Vayastya. So I guess that's where this energy happens. And over to you now. If you could just help us understand how beauty inside out happens, as per Ayurveda. And before
Thank you.
that,
Yeah,
introduce
thank you so
yourself first.
much. Yeah, you already, covered it in such a beautiful way. And as you know, Ayurveda is such a bigger and a broader umbrella, but it's also a very deep dive into the study of self or consciousness, however you want to use the term. And it really kind of debunks all the myths that especially women surround themselves when it comes to beauty. And so in the Western science, beauty or Western culture, beauty remains an external concept. Beauty remains to be, the products that we can use. It's more about the appearance. It's more about how we look. But in Ayurveda, as you know, it's not, it's how you feel. And
Right.
actually that permeates through how you look. And it may not compare to the standards of beauty that we have in the Western culture, even in the Indian culture,
Exactly.
even in the culture nowadays. It doesn't compare up to that. But again, you need the eyes to see it. So
Exactly.
beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, right? If we, and if we are looking at just the outside parameters, the shape of the body, the color of the skin, how the hair and the makeup and etc., that's one thing. But when beauty is from inside out, it's a very different. You need eyes to see that. It's more about the inner radiance. It's more about, you talk about the self, it's more about the self permeating through every layer of your being, right? And one of the things that you mentioned is how you feel. Like, you can read people's facial expressions as to how they are feeling inside or who they are on the inside, regardless of how they may appear. They may appear to be model-like on the outside, but you can really tell through the expression, the facial expressions, the tone of their voice, the body language, or the if you look into their eyes, you can tell the inside feel. So no amount of external products or the external beauty can hide that, or enhance that. So so beauty being the inside job is in the eyes of the beholder. It's about how you feel. And when it comes to Ayurveda, so I know you talked about like the three qualities, and I'm going to see if I can translate them into English. So guna would be like the quality of your. So when I think about guna or the quality, I think about the it can go from physical to non-physical. From the physical, it's like the quality of the tissues. It's not that shows up in the x-rays, but it's the quality of the tissues. As you know, in Ayurveda, the tissue, which is like the nerve tissue, when all the processes go through the 7 tissue layers, what you create is ojas. Okay, so ojas is something that Western science cannot discover through any testing. Ojas is the quality. It's the assimilation, the integration, and the synergistic byproduct of all of your tissues working in harmony. And the only way the tissues can work in harmony when the mind is aligned with the body. What that means is your words are aligned with what your deeply held intentions or beliefs are. And furthermore, your actions are aligned with with the vibration that you hold inside. So these are very qualitative aspects, and that's why it's so difficult to make sense of it in the scientific world, because there's no point. It's not something that you can prove it. Proof is in the pudding. It's the person telling you. That's the proof. So these are very qualitative aspects. And in order for us to tune into those qualitative aspects, we have to cultivate our higher faculties, which are our intuitive ability, the ability to see, which are, our ability to sense energy, our ability to trust or tune into our own experiences, so we can trust that what we are feeling or sensing is the real thing, that we're not making it up. So, right. At the very best, Ayurveda is that science and system that no words can really justify or explain it. It's an experience. And we do our best to put it in words, but we don't do it.
Something to be lived on a daily basis, rather than just looking for a quick short-term solution, or maybe just
Absolutely.
looking at yourself from self-care perspective, going for a salon treatment or a spa treatment once in a month.
Exactly. So
it's every single day. The moment you begin your day, how you live through the day and how you end your day, what choices you make through the day, everything adds up to how you look and feel.
It's consciousness in action.
Right.
It's living Veda. Veda is the knowledge. It's the living knowledge, which means you apply it from moment to moment to moment. And it's it's really such a different mindset, because we have the mindset where, we're just driven by the mind or the ego. We're saying, I'm going to do this for 30 days, or give me a plan for 15 days. So number one, we really, we kind of pin ourselves into a tunnel vision, into a hole that we can't get out of.
That's
right. Because it's a very limited time and it's a very limited way of thinking. And give me these 5 things that I can do today. These things are helpful to get a jump start, but Ayurveda is not just to get a jump start. It's you shifting the mindset into expanding into this vast field, if you would, vast field of presence and awareness that's within each one of us. So it's consciousness in action, is being present from day to day to day. And you mentioned, sleep and diet. And with Ayurveda, there's just 4 areas that Ayurveda focuses on, because those are the areas, those are the deep root causes of almost every illness, right? Digestion is big one.
It
You know
starts with
that
the gut. It
it,
definitely
it
starts.
starts with the gut, and the gut is the third brain. There's brain, and there's brain tissue in the heart. There's brain tissue in the gut. How you feel is how your gut feels.
True.
Okay, so anxiety and your emotions are so much related to the gut. So we cannot heal the gut without healing the emotions, right? And even when it comes to healing the emotions, the Western model would be talk therapy, right? Talk about your problems, and it's quite different and expansive when
I
it
can
comes
just,
to
I'm sorry,
you
I'm
know.
just cutting down here, but I have very interesting share here, which is my own journey. I guess I can completely relate to what you're saying, but I would just want to go back when I was in my 20s, and that was the time I had, I guess I've seen various ups and downs, and now where I've reached is where I can kind of understand how the gap gets bridged now. Like 20 years back, I used to be very, very high on anxiety, and my gut problems were like at its peak, and there was it was such a scenario where I could not make out that is it my gut problem or is it my mind problem which is troubling me, because the anxiety used to be at the mind level, and the digestive issues used to be at the gut level.
Mhm.
And you would not believe, I did not leave any doctor just trying to get those scans done and to figure out what is there that that lies deep within. And I remember, this sounds like a little funny also, but one of the doctors who did some ultrasound just told me that you have some gas, we can see some gas in your digestive area. And they showed me, like, it was some hazy kind of a picture, and I was like, okay. And I could not understand how can this little haze in the picture cause such a trouble, which is like, which was really out of control. And
Yeah,
for, I guess, for about 10 years, after that, about 10 or 15 years, I had been struggling with the same problem, just still trying to figure out whether it's a mind problem or a gut problem. It was only when I started studying macrobiotics, and by virtue of my learning, like, it was not something that was intentionally doing, because I knew nothing about consciousness. I knew nothing about self-realization. I couldn't make a connect between gut and brain. I mean, I was completely clueless of all these concepts. So when I started studying and implementing all those concepts, and I guess when anxiety comes, it also comes with a lot of fears. These are like brother and sister
absolutely.
coming
Yeah.
together, right?
Mhm.
So again, by virtue of anxiety came different kinds of worries and different kinds of fears. So it was a total package coming in together. And within 1 year of practicing macrobiotics, which was about understanding the food energy, which very closely resonates with how Ayurveda looks at foods, but the terminology is different, and the approach is different, but then the
Mhm.
underlying concepts are the same. It's all about balance. Like in Ayurveda, we look at it, Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. In macrobiotics, we look at it things from yin and yang perspective. So somewhere you have to attain the central balance. Within 1 year, it was such a miracle. I mean, my entire that's where my healing also started. Within 1 year, my anxieties, fears were all gone automatically, which no other doctor could ever heal. And it was not something that was intentional. It just happened to me,
It
which
just
I
happened.
realized
Yeah.
over it. Yes.
Mhm.
And that's where, when I got into Ayurveda, yoga, then I got into yoga. That's where the sense of self-realization came, which was a very deep-rooted philosophy. Frankly, I'm still trying to understand the depths of it. But
Mhm.
yes, there was a level of self-realization where I realized that, if you have to live life in a very happy way, which you call ageless. And when I say ageless, it's about everything. It's about how your body looks like, how your skin looks like, how you as a person are, how happy you are, what is your joyous quotient, everything. It's a package altogether. And if you have to achieve that state, there is no shortcut. It's not about calorie counting. It's not about getting into those mindless fitness regimes. It's actually about working on yourself every single moment, every single day,
Mhm.
following a different pattern, working on yourself, and that's where you achieve it. So I guess where I could achieve it took me 7 to 8 years, where I can say I'm a completely transformed person. But I guess this level of knowledge is something that's very deep rooted and very specific aspect to Ayurveda, and modern world does not understand this.
Yeah, I think that they are getting there, because the reason, I think one of the ways that they are getting there is because we have now a lot of mental issues are coming up because
Yes.
of COVID. So one thing is, and people don't understand what mental issues are. They think it's mental. We don't understand it. So this is, one thing I like to highlight is body is the mind. What
That's
that
true.
means is
The
body
true
is the
body.
antenna for all the experiences that we have. So when we talk about the mind, we tend to point to the brain. We think this is the mind and the rest of it's the body. Well, the whole thing is the body. Mind is mind is the energy. It's the energies of the experiences that we have from day to day basis, and they get registered in the tissues. That's
That's right.
one of the reasons until the mind is aligned, until the healing is done at the mental, and the mental is energetic. So the energetic and the spiritual, they're kind of intertwined. So until the energetics are aligned with the physical body, the beauty you're not going to see. You're
That's right.
going to be limited to having to use a lot of products to look what you perceive to be beautiful. So mind is a huge deal. So and the body is the mind. The experiences are registered in the body, and so in the Western modern concept, the mental issues are resolved by talk therapy, cognitive therapy. So we're still kind of hovering on the surface, right?
That's right.
We don't go deeper into this energetic, because mind, mental energy, emotional energy is energy. Is energy. What are the two principles of energy? You can't create it, you can't destroy it, you can only transmute it.
Yes.
So
That's
if we keep hovering on the surface, getting into talk therapy or cognitive therapy, which is needed, that's, again, there's a usefulness to everything.
that's where you begin with, I guess. But
That's
then,
where you begin, and everything can be good for somebody. But, when we're looking at really the real deal and going to the root cause and becoming one with the truth of your existence, then we really need to look at the energy.
that's
So
true.
the energy can be created, can be destroyed, it can only be transmuted. So
This is this is how
it's way bigger than talk therapy. So
it's a very big concept.
it's about healing. It's about healing. It's about healing and transmuting that energy. So for example, you talk about fear and anxiety. It's just energy. And what do we do with that? We want to transmute it in a way so it transmuted to its highest expression. The highest expression of any energy is love. Love heals.
That's the
And
biggest
again,
energy, the
here's
heart
again
energy.
another big concept. We are coming from a place where we thought love is romantic love, personal love, I love you, I love this. Love is a state of being. Love is actually, I talked about consciousness in action. Love is consciousness in action. Love is an energy. Love is a field of existence. So if we can transmute, and that's where the healing work, that's really where the beauty lies. Because the
Exactly.
beauty then shows through your eyes, through the radiance in your being, through your smile, through how you interact with others. And because of this understood concept of beauty, we can thank all the marketing companies for product pushers and whatnot. What I was going to say is, if we step back and go a little deeper, we actually will find the results. We'll actually will get the results. There's so much conditioning around beauty. There's so much, women especially, they beat themselves up. They're struggling with weight loss, to look better. Everybody wants to look like when they were in college days, right? So we talk about, aging and graceful aging or timeless beauty. So timeless beauty has nothing to do with the wrinkles or lack of wrinkles in your face. It has nothing to do with what the natural process that your tissues are going through. It has to do with the light that you're shining through
The
your tissues.
magnetism, you are
It's a
attracting all
magnetism,
the
exactly. And because of this misunderstood concept, women, when I talk about women beat themselves up, so there's there's an inner dialogue that's going on between you and your cellular structure, right? You don't like the body because you want it to look a certain way. So even if you're not using the words, but the vibration that your relationship with your body is not a healthy relationship because you don't like it. You hide it, right? Because
And I
there's a
guess that
concept.
drags you more
Yeah,
towards aging in the long run.
exactly. And then when, your cells are listening, your cells are alive beings. I tell people, I'm like, think about these little people with arms and eyes and things. You've never like even visited them and said hello to them. They're waiting for instruction. But they're getting this muffled sound of, we don't know what to do. We don't know who we are. We don't know what we're supposed to do because you're not connecting. So when you connect, they're like, oh, talk to your cellular structure. Dear cellular structure, we're aging this way. I'm not going to let my past diseases, predict how am I going to be in the future, what my health is going to be. So it's really, I think we're moving into time where we're learning what this being is, who we are, and how to be human, how to be in the human body, in the human planet, but connect with the higher being, the spiritual being that you are. I mean, it's a tricky thing. It's a
It's
tricky
a very
being
tricky thing.
human.
Unless you get into it, you don't get a hang of what
You don't
spiritual.
get a hang of it. So, there's so many of us that are just kind of lost because people are looking for answers, but they don't know where to find them. And this has to be there. You have to sense it. You have to sense it that, oh, this is what I need to do. And when I do my work, if I have a mentor or a project or a program that I need to do, I sense it, I follow it, right? Instead of having a rigid mindset thinking, oh, 9 o'clock, I got to finish this by 10 o'clock. I have to put this out. It just doesn't work because I just come in my own way. But if we step out of the way, there's actually beauty already is here.
True.
Every single person has that innate beauty. We got to let go of the external beauty.
It's all within you, exactly.
Yeah,
There's
the external beauty will follow. When you come across people, what do you remember the most? You remember how they made you feel. You remember their personality. You forget what the heck they were wearing or what they looked like. Because their personality was beautiful, you thought of them as a beautiful person.
so how you complete the entire statement is it's not just about look good and feel good is all one.
It's all one. Yeah, exactly. If you feel good, don't worry about looking good. You look good. Like, don't worry
If you feel
about
good,
what
you
you
automatically will look good, and there's the whole
exactly.
science going at the back of it. There's
And that's
hormones
really,
working to make you
yeah.
look and feel a
So
certain
it's
way.
really about transmitting. It's really about transmitting that consciousness, that light that you are from this physical framework out. To me, that's beauty. And doing it knowing that you are beautiful. There's nothing, we don't need any makeup. There's nothing to make up for. Right? Right? It's like makeup and products. I mean, there's nothing to make up for. And having said that, women have a need to kind of put ornaments and jewelry. I mean, I've got jewelry on. I put a light makeup on. But how are you doing it? Which place are you pivoting from? Are you pivoting from like this place of lack that see if I can cover up who I am? Or are you pivoting from, I want to see if I can beautify myself? It's kind of like, the counterpart of consciousness, the feminine part of consciousness, which is called Prakriti. And that Prakriti needs to dress and clothe herself in a way it's exactly. So it's where your face, it's not that I have nothing against, getting dressed up and makeup and all that, go for it. But how are you obsessing over it? Or are you just enhancing who you are? And are you always searching, thinking, what can I do? How can I look this way or that way? Or are you just totally confident and happy with how you're looking? And if you feel that confidence, if you feel the beauty within, body will age. We're not going to live here forever. The body will age, but graceful aging is not about that, oh my God, I've got like circles under my eyes, and or I'm going to have wrinkles. I have some wrinkles already. It's really about your relationship with it. Are you comfortable? Are you comfortable with this?
Yeah.
Is this
And
okay
that's
for
where
you?
the aging also starts to get delayed
Yeah.
automatically. The
Yeah. Is
entire
this
chemistry
okay?
changes. And
Is this okay for you? Can you love it? Can you be with it? It's your relationship with how the skin is, getting aged, and it's your relationship with it. It's how do you hold that aging process in your heart, in your awareness, in your consciousness,
right.
and so that's that. That.
Oh, I guess Dr. Meena just dropped out by mistake. Let's just wait for her to rejoin again. I would just request all of you, if you have any queries, you can just post us in the comment. We'll try taking the queries right now if Dr. Meena joins back again. Yes, she's joining. She should be there in another few seconds.
I'm
Yeah.
back.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So Amina, I think we've talked about everything, and I just forgot to introduce you. So let me just talk few lines about you. Where do you come from? So Meena comes from the lineage of Ayurveda doctors and is the founder of Ayurveda Healing Center in Toronto, Canada. She is the author of bestseller Healing Your Relationship with Food. And of course, she's kind of taking us all through her vast 35 years of experience into Ayurveda. So, Amina, just tell me one thing. Like I guess so I had been looking forward to have your book also, which I soon will be having. But in the meantime, if you just help our audience understand, like if they ought to walk this path of ageless beauty, there has to be some starting point, right? And physical is always the starting point. It's the easiest starting point because that it's tangible. You can actually, you
Exactly.
can see some tangible results happening there. So what would you suggest from the foods perspective, from the body work perspective? I'll just take the example of the 5 dimensions that we're talking about. From emotions perspective, from self-realization and energy perspective, what should be the starting point for the for a lot of women to start walking this path, starting to get in love with themselves, starting to see those tangible changes happening to their skin and hair and weight, and then gradually moving on to this path of self-realization, which is the ultimate science of keeping that aliveness within you for a very long time. So if we can have some practical
Yeah.
tips from you on that.
Sure. So I think, the beauty of any kind of healing or self care is you can begin anywhere, because no, it's kind of like a cycle. You
It's a
can
cycle,
begin,
yes.
it's a cycle. You can begin anywhere, and that first step is going to take you to the next step. So where would you begin? So I really will begin with, where are you today? What that means is just glancing on the surface layer of your life, of your being. And most people know things that are troubling them, or things that they're doing they wish they were not doing, right? But they just, there's confusion. They think that they have to undertake this huge project or a task, which they cannot take. Nobody can take that. So it's really about starting with one thing, one simple step. So could it be, you can either start with, one thing that you can eliminate from your diet. Sometimes that creates a little bit of a stress because it's like letting go. Suppose it's coffee, suppose it's your potato chips, or suppose it's wine, suppose it's, sugary snacks. So it's like, oh my God, I love those, I love those. So there's a stress. But I always say is, what can you add in your life? As far as diet, can you, where do you see there is a gap? Maybe do you need to just hydrate more? Maybe you need to just eat at a regular time, right? Maybe you can make sure that you're not eating past 8 o'clock or past a certain amount of time, right? Or maybe it's about starting the morning with the right, like, like you talk about the alkaline drink, like a green juice or something like that, or just even lemon water. Lemon
I have a
water.
very interesting input here since we're talking foods. If I talk of my journey, starting from the point where I was totally clueless where to start with, and For me, it just started randomly. But then I guess my journey started with the foods, frankly, because
Yeah.
for me, it was a part of my learning. That's
Part
why.
of, yeah, so I think like food is
Yes.
very tangible. We are very alarmed. You know, there's a lot of our mental attention is going towards food because there's a lot of cooking videos and people are at home. There's, you know, food is everywhere around us.
The more
So that's
complicated we are, I guess, the more complicated the foods, the more complicated
and
we are.
actually, you know, with the food thing, with the food too, because of so much information, it's become complex.
Yes.
Because if you're constantly watching those how to make this and that videos, you kind of are getting disconnected. So I really go back to the very basics. I tell people, you don't need to make this exotic dish, right? It's really simple as, you know, for example, like take vegetables. What can you do with them? You can eat them raw, you can steam them, you can put them in soup, you can cook them by themselves. So there's no mystery. Really, for that, you don't need a recipe. You don't need someone to tell you what to do. And cook always with any, you know, with India, that's not a problem, digestive spices. So the 4 digestive spices are fennel, cumin, coriander, and turmeric. And that's very common in India. One of the problems in India maybe is that overusage of spices,
Yeah.
and same spices going in, you're overspiced. So that can create like inflammation and disturbance in the energy. So it's really thinking about more spices as medicine that are going to help you digest the food, repair and restore the gut, right? So, and going back to the basics, you know, there's nothing more basic and pure and just wonderful than an Indian meal. Just your simple vegetable dish, you know, dal and chapati. It's the simplest thing. And I always tell people, for your gut, keep it simple. The gut should be able to recognize what the heck it is that you're eating. It can easily digest it, so it can extract the nutrients from it, and it can process it through the system. There's no point of making it complicated than, you know, sometimes like in the Western culture, there's a big thing about one dish meals. You put everything, you throw a bunch of cheese and butter and some spices and you stick it in the oven. Well, I'm not a big fan of that. It's like, yes, it looks really yummy. It may seem really, you know, easy to make, but you have to think about the post-digestive effect. Yes. So it's, again, you know, food is not limited to the taste buds. It's really about what it is doing when it goes inside of you. And can your body recognize it? Because it has to recognize this in order for it to know what enzymes to secrete to digest it. If the body can't recognize it, it's like, well, you know, I don't know what to do. Let's just leave that. And that's undigested food. That's toxicity. That's weight gain. That equals every disease because it gets circulated in the bloodstream. So I'm always a simple, keep it simple. 1 or 2 vegetables, a simple soup. Don't worry about, you know, some people are now developing this gluten sensitivity. It's because what they have done to the gut, right? You know, simple, like a simple chapati. I don't want to eat gluten. Gluten is in everything. Gluten is in vegetables. I mean, you need that. There's a protein that you need. The body needs some kind of a gluten to glue the food together, to form a bowel so that it can move through the system. You can't just have smoothies and vegetables because it'll go right through you. It needs to be absorbed, and in order for it to be absorbed, you need something else. Like for protein to be absorbed, you need a carb, right? Just simple dal and rice. Here's your simple perfect meal. So I always think with life, keep everything simple, and we can get drawn into the complexities and the abundance and so much information, thinking, oh my God, we've got to do it all. That's crazy making. Nobody can eat all the things that are required these days. There's all these nuts and seeds, and there's smoothies, and there's green things, then there's this. I mean, it's not possible. And then there are all these herbs.
And that's an additional stress, I believe, because then
it's
on
an
the right side also
stress.
just thinking what to do.
It's an additional stress. And when people work with me on the diet, they think it's going to be complex. I start with where they are and tweak it. tweak it a
Exactly.
little bit,
That's the way.
simplify it, because there's someone inside beyond the mouth that it has to look at what you just put in. And you better make it recognizable.
Yeah, so I can just add on here, like when again going back to my own journey, one point that you just mentioned, I guess I can completely relate to what you said. Once you have consumed the foods, it's not the taste that you have acquired while consuming the foods, but immediately when you are done with it, how do you feel?
How do
Once
you
you're done
feel?
with the meal, how do
Exactly.
you feel?
Yeah,
So if
exactly.
you start connecting to that feeling automatically, you will make sure that your meals start to become really simple. And the simplicity is what is going to keep your gut clean. That's what is going to, you
Absolutely.
know,
You got
give
it. And the
your blood
feelings,
the
yeah,
nutrients, and that's what is going to show on the outside.
absolutely.
Gut is
When
it's
people come and tell me,
overloaded.
should I eat this? Should I eat that? I'm like, eat it, then tell me how you feel.
Exactly.
Then
So
you
it's
have
that
to
feeling
trust
that,
that.
that makes you
Yeah. Don't worry
what
about the numbers and the tests. That's a very limited scope.
that's true. And a
There's
lot of
something
like
beyond the numbers.
specifically, I guess proteins is one category where the most obsession comes in from. Like, where the at the name of going plant-based, the very first question is where do I get my proteins? And it takes me really hard time for me also to explain people protein. If you keep protein in mind, also keep uric acid in mind, also keep arthritis in mind, also keep heart diseases in mind, also keep kidney problems in mind, because if you do not stop now, 10 or 15 years down the line, this is what
That's
it
what's
is
going to happen.
following up next.
Yeah. And that's, actually the excessive protein creates a toxicity in the body.
Yes.
You know that, and you just mentioned all the illnesses that can come from it. And it's like the new buzzword. The diet has gone crazy.
It's
There's
crazy.
so many different kind of diets. I think, again, people are starting, it's almost like we keep finding so much on the external to drain our energy. It's just, it's never going to end.
It's never ending. And I guess the latest experience that has been while working with a lot of clients also, there's a new category which is showing up as functional medicine, which is about just fixing, adding supplements to it, something like stitching in things in between.
Exactly. And that's
Yeah.
another thing. Oh, functional medicine, they somehow think they've cracked the code. But
Yeah. But over time, even I have experienced, I've worked for 1.5 years
oh
with
my
somebody,
gosh, yeah, I get
and it's
patients.
crazy. It's like,
Yeah, I get
never
patients
ending
from,
supplements getting in.
yeah, I get patients from functional doctors, functional medicine doctors. And maybe, I'm sorry.
I know what you say. I have seen
It's a problematic. And I'm like, I understand they've taken you up to a point, but now you're stuck again.
because
So,
it's all about just stitching those cuts in between,
exactly. Keep
adding
taking the supplements,
plastering
and
or
then
something which is
then
not.
it's limitations, and everything is dictated by the numbers.
Yes.
I'm
And
like,
that
long
liveliness
before,
factor
yeah,
is all gone. It's not there.
yeah, long before we could, the Ayurveda doctors, they just took your pulse. They
Yeah.
saw you. They never had X-rays. They never took blood tests because there was that higher power that they were cultivating.
And
And now we have all
it was
the
more
technology, and
about
we're
your
stuck. Yeah,
energy also, just transmitting out of you, that could give a very good sense of what's going on inside. So the high, I guess the modern science, I don't know how much time will it take to reach there, but somewhere we are gravitating
I
gradually
think the
towards
start.
early science.
There's a magic to one simple step. And for everyone, it's different. Everyone can decide for themselves, what is that one thing that I can do, say, this month? Do I, either that one thing I can add that my diet needs or my lifestyle needs, or one thing that I can eliminate, whatever works for you, only one thing. Work that in, play with it, and see how that makes you feel. Move on to the next month, and then you'll be encouraged and motivated to do, okay, well, that worked really well. It made me feel this way, made me feel that way. I'm going to do this, not do this. And the next month, you pick another thing, that simple thing that you can add to your life, whether it's, breathing for 2 minutes every morning. And so, and that's going to change your day, right?
Elimination works wonders. Elimination.
Exactly. And, so imagine if they did one thing each month. That's 12 things.
12 things.
That's a year.
Yes.
Pretty much, many times when I tell people one thing, it works wonders because that one thing eliminates so many problems. So they think they're working on one thing, they're actually working on 10 things. So I'm like, if you invest like a year and you just keep living your life that way, there's not an end point like this, a 6-month plan or a year plan. You become more conscious. Is this working for me? Nobody knows more about you than that person. I tell
I guess
patients
that
all the time, it's like you are your doctor.
that
You are
intuition
your own doctor.
automatically starts to work
Yeah.
within you. It automatically happens, I
Yeah,
guess.
and really is listening less, not accumulating information. We've become information junkies. Not accumulating information. The truth is, we already know. We already know. It's not about more information, more information. It's about I already know many things. Let me use them. Let me use that one thing. So instead of cluttering the mind with more stuff, which is again stress producing, rather than begin to use the knowledge that you already have, saying one thing, I'm going to put it in my practice. I'm going to apply it. I'm going to be like a scientist of my own life and see how that feels. And that's it. It's really about giving people, beauty is really about giving the people who come through us them their power back.
True.
It's here. This is what you can do. You have it within you. And my goal is I don't want to collect patients. I don't want to collect clients. Do you know what I mean? I want to help them and so they can get on with their life. So that's, empowered people, empowered women are beautiful women.
There's
You can't mess with them.
Yes, there's a very interesting concept in yoga, which is about, I'm sure you must have heard of it, heart warriors.
What is it called?
It's called heart warriors.
Heart warriors, yeah.
Yes. So this concept is all about, gradually working on yourself in a way so that you become a vessel of love. And that's where,
Yeah.
you kind of transmit your energies from your heart rather than from your brain. So it's about starting,
Exactly.
and it's a journey.
Yeah.
You start with the physical asanas so that you kind of build that strength and improve upon your circulation, improve upon your heart health, improve upon your internal, basically, flexibility and all the areas which connect you all together through the body to the heart, strengthening all that area, making all those channels, opening up all those channels, and then gradually moving on as a step to more towards understanding your emotional side, and then gradually moving on to self-realization.
And absolutely. And for some people, that first step might be, I am doing everything that I'm doing. My diet is really good. I exercise, but something is off, right? Maybe
That something is, I guess,
I
that's
want
the
to
feeling
meditate.
factor.
Yeah,
That
it's like
something's the feeling factor. Something is telling you
feeling
it's not,
factor.
something is
It's
not
like,
right.
yeah, let's go ahead because they're not connecting the dots. They are kind of mentally in a regiment way doing the diet and the exercise, but the connection isn't there.
Connection is missing.
Connection isn't there. So that's when, maybe a meditation practice, a reflection practice. You can journal 10 minutes every day. They can begin with that. There's so many, right? And then that's going to help you connect. And then you realize it's not about the diet.
Yes, it's not about the diet. It's
It's
about
not about the
you as a
diet.
whole.
It's really about you, the truth of you that you are going to bring forth in what you choose to eat, what you choose to put into your mind. So it's just such a deep, transformative field area.
So I guess we are about 10 minutes to go. Kind of end the session. So there are a few questions that our audience had for you. So I just made a list of those. If we can just take those quickly. So one of them asked, how can a newly turned mom with a C-section can reduce weight with Ayurveda? If you have some quick tips for somebody who's gone through a C-section and trying to lose weight. Or
one of the things is what happens with a C-section, the tissues gather at the incision. Mm-hmm. When the tissues are gathering at the incision, there's a disconnect. So many moms after C-section, they don't even feel that part of the body.
That's
do
very
a
true.
massage. Do a massage there. Like an warm oil massage around the C-section. You can move the hand in a circular movement, and also breathing. As you're breathing, you're connecting that part of the body that was cut to the entire body, to your nervous system.
But is it okay to have a massage done after a C-section? Because
yeah, well, how long?
my time it was
Once a C-section heals, once
okay.
a C-section
About
takes
3
about
months or
8
so.
to 10 weeks. When it takes about 8 to 10 weeks for it to heal, once it heals, and once it's healing, they really shouldn't even be thinking about, oh my God, how am I going to lose weight? Like, no, you need to heal. The focus needs to be on healing and you're also producing milk, you're nursing the baby, you're taking care of the baby. It's really about transforming into that new place. And the weight loss should not be the primary concern, because you'll be circling, you'll be trying to catch your tail, because there's enough to take care of the baby, there's enough to take care of your changing body. So,
but I guess over a certain time, body itself takes care of itself.
Body itself, and
right.
nursing. When you're just nursing and tuning into your motherly instincts, and then after 8 weeks, when the cut is healed, I really recommend the oil massage and breathing while you're doing it, so you connect the part that was cut to the whole flow of circulation. Because that's what happens with any surgeries. There's a disconnect. There's the tissues gather, and that can cause further problems, and the women will just gain weight below the line where the line was cut, and that part is not even sensitive. They can't feel anything. So to really regenerate and to create the flow is to use the massage technique.
That's a nice tip. I think I've heard it for the first time. I wish I would have known this in my So, okay. So the second question is how to tackle hormonal imbalances like PCOS and PCOD in Ayurveda. How do you look at PCOD and PCOS in Ayurveda?
I tend to look at all the hormone balance. I tend to look at more qualitatively than quantitatively. Mm-hmm. And so I don't necessarily, go like work on those hormones or really address the hormones. I really look at the overall picture, the overall health of the person. And the hormone balance, it is achieved as a byproduct.
As a byproduct.
And as a byproduct, instead of just thinking like I'm not a big fan of hormone therapy or anything like that. And the same thing happens like, even in menopause, which becomes a medical event here. It's not a medical event. And just understanding where the body is getting the estrogen from. So I tend to look at qualitative factors of life, and the hormones are balanced as a result of it, rather than pinpointing them and kind of addressing them directly.
Yes, I guess it's more of a modern way of looking at it. It's more of a fragmented way, but if you
it's a fragmented way. It really is a fragmented way. That's why what we have hormone therapy, we have this. It's like it doesn't
crazy. We're just stitching those broken parts, but it doesn't work like that.
It doesn't make sense to me. It's like, it's like somebody will come to me, well, I don't want to take the thyroid medication. Can you give me a thyroid herb? I'm like, no. This came from, it's related to the liver, it's related to the overdoing, the overexertion. So let's change your lifestyle. Let's change how you're being. And then what happens? The thyroid gets fine, it's functioning. And
it's so the more we are out of sync with the nature, kind of. Yeah. And I guess a lot of people, where I see a lot of issues is from the daily routine perspective, not sleeping at time and not waking up at time. I guess we take it very lightly, but I guess that's at the root of a lot of it.
It is because there's no harmonizing with nature, yes. Right? We think that we can sleep late, we can wake up late. Absolutely. We're not understanding the ramifications of it. Yes. We're not understanding the timing of the sleep. The sleep, even if you sleep till noon the next day, it doesn't have the same benefit as it would if you went to bed early instead, right? Because we're changing, the Vata, Pitta, Kapha time, how the elements interact, how the elements in your body and what's active in your body and what's kind of wanting to rest in your body. So it's just not the same thing. So I think what has happened is the modernization, the industrialization, the technology, we have forgotten nature. We're trying to outsmart nature. And
I often tell my clients, simplicity is complicated.
Yeah,
It's so simple that it's so
we
complicated to
have.
explain and
Yeah,
understand.
man can reach to go to the moon, but I'm sorry, we cannot. We can't oversmart
Replicate
nature.
nature's way of
We cannot
operation.
oversmart nature. We can try, but we cannot. So what works 1,000 years ago on your digestion, what made your digestion better 1,000 years ago, it still is the same thing that
Yeah.
makes your digestion better.
The body
You
is
know,
ancient. Like we've got modern, but the body and mind is still ancient to
yeah,
begin with, whether or
yeah.
not we appreciate it.
Technology doesn't mean the nature has changed.
True.
Your digestion works the same way. Your system works the same way. We're getting better understanding of it. But yes, you need to go to bed on time. You need to get enough sleep. You got to get up in time. So it's just, these are such simple things, but they're not easy things because we are so bombarded with information.
Fragmented information, one thing, being highlighted and the
Because
other.
it's a lot of noise, a lot of chit chat, a lot of just noise, a lot of nothing. And people are, so that's why, don't consume that information. Just, you don't need it. You don't need to know it. You really need to know
Your own
handful of
self.
things
You need to know your own
and
self.
follow that and let go of the rest. It's, you have it. You already have it. Simple living, high thinking. Look at the nature. When does the sun set, sunrise? How hard is that?
It's been
Nature
the
is
same
simple.
time for years. I mean, it's the simplest example that
Keep
quoted
that.
the same time for
In the
years.
middle of the day when the sun is at its peak, your digestion is at its peak. In the morning time, it's a little bit slower. So you antidote that, you oppose that by some activity, by some going for a walk, yoga, or whatever exercise you do. Evening time is to slow down. During the day, we have 3-4 creative hours. That's when you do your projects, your work, and you whatever. Morning, you're probably more alert hours. Get your, projects that require more of you at that time. And there you have it.
I guess
Simple,
to
simple,
you've just
simple.
summarized in one line everything what it takes to be beautiful inside out. I guess it's very, very simple, but this is the way to
Simple.
go.
It's
It's
really the simple. So it's like declutter the mind. Declutter the mind. Don't take in information anymore, really. It does a number on our psyche. So keeping things really simple. I think hopefully we're moving into those times.
I guess that awareness has started to set in, I guess, which is a very good trend. I guess it's been there in the Western world for quite a long time. It belongs to India, but I guess Westerners have really implemented it in a very, very beautiful way. And now it's coming back to India from the Western countries. That's how
exactly.
it's a reverse way
It's
of coming back.
ancient wisdom, knowledge is applicable to the whole planet. It will always be applicable. It has nothing to do with technology. It's the wisdom. It's when you get rid of the clutter, it's the consciousness, it's the wisdom of life. It will never change. So if we can tap into that a little by little, by looking at one thing we can add or take away, by just experimenting, being curious, like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to tune into how it makes me feel. There you have
Connecting
it.
with your feeling, I guess that there's no bigger doctor within you telling you what's going on.
Really, exactly. And
And
people know, when I work with people, I do a lot of healing work, a lot of counseling work. I really lead them to their own insights. I don't give them the insights. I lead them into their own world, so they begin to connect the dots. Do you see this? Do you see that now? Do you see what you already have? You know what I mean? So it's really taking them to the treasure within, and every single person is born with it.
That's true.
Every single person can do this. Every single person, even if they're living on the street, can sit in the corner under a tree, close their eyes, and
Just
feel.
learn to relax and let go.
And feel. That's it. Enjoy the breeze, enjoy the earth, enjoy the chirping of the birds. Simple things like that.
Right.
That can bring a lot of joy, a lot of beauty into your being, into your presence. So
Great. Nice session, Meena. I guess it's a lot to take to, and I guess it all boils down to being simple, choosing simplicity over complicated things in the daily routine. Start bringing about those small little changes, one at a time, making it a habit, then moving on to the next one, and that's where a lot of things gradually start to change.
Yeah,
one
don't
by one.
rush. I mean, we don't need to know it all. We just need to experience it all. And we have time. We're like, just do one little thing, take a few days, weeks, a month, take another
Keep
thing,
doing it,
enjoy
get
the
good at it.
process. Yeah, enjoy the process and see what happens.
Right. So I guess, yeah, we are just in time. And thank you so much, Meena. I guess it's been a lovely
Thank
session
you.
being with
Yeah,
you.
thank you so much. Thank you for the invite. It was great to connect
It
with you.
was all
So
my
keep
pleasure.
up the good work. All
Definitely.
right.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.